And hold my banner, your end-all, be-all, one-stop shop for all your Celtics need here at Nesson. I'm George Blecci filling in for Travis Thomas on this episode of Hold My Banner. Make sure, wherever you get your podcasts, like, subscribe, rate, review. We're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime, and wherever you watch. YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Nesson.com. Do the same, especially on YouTube and Twitch. Like, subscribe, and follow, and comment along. Anytime you guys want to join the show, go ahead, leave a comment, add us on Twitter as well, X, Instagram, wherever you may be. Let me bring in my main man on this show, Ante Campbell. As Travis likes to say, and I agree, the walking, talking, triple-double Tay. How we doing today? Hey, thanks for having me back on, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming back, man. We had a great time the last time, and it's got me dancing today. I'm feeling good. Hey,
you gotta tell me, how was the parade? I was overseas. I was in Barcelona, following along on the videos. But how was the parade? Because the one damn parade, since I moved to Boston, I was literally in another country.
Look, I will tell you, I would have traded places with you anytime. I saw those photos, man. You look great. You came back bronze. Looked like you had a lot of fun out there, man. But the parade was amazing, bro. Me and Travis had a lot of fun out there. We got a lot of great shots. It looked like the team was having fun, and so were we. So it was amazing, man.
Yeah, I don't think they're still coming down off that high. I love Jaylen Brown on the floor. You see how happy he was.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, the relief you see in JT's face after winning that ring, that's what stuck out to me. I'm excited for what's to come with this team. Tay, we'll bring you back in a little bit back on the show. So since I wasn't here right after the Celtics won in 5, and this is a guy that said Mavericks in 6 right here on my last appearance on Hold My Banner. I just got to take a moment. You got to give the Celtics flowers. And I know Travis and Tay have done it on this show throughout. But it starts with Brad Stevens, who is the guy that put the finishing touches on this roster. Danny Ainge, when he was the head of personnel, drafted Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. When Brad Stevens made the transition from head coach to GM of the team, and the 4 pivotal trades he made, where 3 of them really worked out. I'm talking Derek White, acquiring him for Romeo Langford and Josh Richardson. Then you bring in Malcolm Brogdon, and he traded away Aaron Nesmith, draft picks, other players. Didn't work out, but then what he became. Because it starts with acquiring Kristaps Porzingis for Marcus Smart, Danilo Gallinari, Mike Muscala, and a second-round pick. But then when that trade goes down, everyone's going, what's going on here? You're trading away the heart and soul of this team, the point guard of this team. But you still have Malcolm Brogdon. And then on the eve of literally the team having their preseason introductory press conference, their media day, the trade goes down. Malcolm Brogdon and Robert Williams going to Portland, and Drew Holiday, who only ended up in Portland because the Bucks wanted Dame, ends up in Boston and was the final key piece for this championship roster. You bring him in, and that's a guy that brought leadership, that brought defense, that brought maturity, that brought toughness that this entire team was lacking. Brad Stevens brought them together. Yeah, Porzingis looked terrible in Game 5 and looked like he could barely move out there. But the energy boost he brought for this team for Game 1 and 2, even coming off the bench in Game 5, again, didn't look right, but the energy for this team and in that building with them closing it out at 5 in Boston, Brad Stevens needs his flowers for putting this team together, for running it back and keeping Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown together, who Ainge drafted, Brad Stevens coached, but keeping them together, especially after how last season ended, blowing that series lead against the Miami Heat. Coming back, going down 0-3, coming back to push it to 7 and then falling. But that's what they did. And yes, you lose to the Warriors in the finals before, and this team seemed overwhelmed by the stage, overmatched. But again, sticking with them. Where Brad Stevens knew what he had, 2 elite wings, 2 guys that create their own shot off the dribble, that can create offense on their own. But then to go and get a Derek White, who on certain nights is the 3rd best player on this team. And if it's not Derek White, it was a Drew Holiday. If it wasn't a Drew Holiday, it was a Kristaps Porzingis. Knowing how to build a team and keep Al Horford in the fold, because he was essential for this run as well, again with his leadership and experience to see him break through and get a ring. But Brad Stevens stayed with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and knew how to move the pieces around them to get them a great 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th guy in their rotation to fill out this championship roster. And to me, it doesn't stop with Brad Stevens. It goes to Joe Mazzulla, who I'm overly critical of all year long. leaves the starters in too long, doesn't make sense with the minutes. Offense gets stagnant for lengths at time. His timeouts still drive us mad, like leaving Kristaps Porzingis in the game when he's limping around. But that's neither here nor there. End of the day, the job for an NBA head coach is when you're handed a talented roster, can you make those guys play hard? He did it for 82 games in the regular season, where they were historically great. Then he did it again in the postseason. They weren't great in the regular season and fell off in the postseason. They weren't so-so in the regular season and showed up in the playoffs. They played great for 101 games, and they won a ring and got that 18th banner. And this is a team that took on the personality, took on the mindset of Joe Mazzulla, which he loves to mention and allude to all the time. He got the most out of this roster. He got the Jays to accept their roles, especially Jason Tatum, to become a playmaker, not a scorer. He got Drew Holiday to buy his role. From being a guy that can average 20 points per night and put up 15 shots a game to sit in the corner, shoot those threes. You're only going to get 10 actual shots a night, but can you buy in defensively? He got Jaylen Brown to step up and do that. He made this all work with the personalities. Brad Stevens went out and put all these ingredients together to make this beautiful recipe of a championship team. But Joe Mazzulla made it come to life. He was the head chef, the executive chef, putting it all together, cooking it, let it simmer, let it grow. And then when it was time to serve it up, they took the best team in the West, because I don't care about a path to the finals. You know what a ring is with an asterisk if you want to give it? It's a ring. They took the best team to come out of the West, who was the best team out of the West from those trades on, when they brought in the guys like a Gafford, got Derek Lively to figure out his role, a PJ Washington. From that point on to the playoffs, was the best team in the West. They took them and made them look lost every game in the finals. So I want to come on. I know I'm a week late. I do not care, because this championship team needs their respect. You give your flowers to Brad Stevens, and you give it to Joe Mazzulla. And of course, you give it to the players, because at the end of the day, they go out there and execute. But Stevens had the vision, made the proper moves. Joe Mazzulla made the roster come together. And this is all behind an ownership group who spoke about winning an 18th banner, followed it up with their checkbook, put their all into investing in this team, and made it happen. And yeah, I know. What was the drought in Boston? 5 years? But it's not because it's only 5 years. Yes, there's a standard here. But it's since the Patriots won that Super Bowl and Tom Brady left, they've been irrelevant. Since then, the Celtics have come so close so many times and fallen short. The Bruins, the best season, regular season in the history of the NHL, bounced in the first round. And the Red Sox, that 2021 ALCS run, haven't been close since then. This is a city that was starving for relevancy in sports, as crazy as it sounds. And as close as the Celtics got, again, in the finals in 2022. Winning in 7 against the Sixers before going down 0-3 against the Heat. But the standard in Boston's real. You only really grab it if you live here and if you're in it every day. From the outside, the people hate. But you have to appreciate it for a city. And this Celtics team, led by Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who aren't even 30 yet, broke through and got their first ring and brought this city a championship parade they were dying for. That's why I loved bringing it up with Ante. Once in a lifetime experience. You can't take that for granted. It's hard to win rings, and the Celtics did, so I wanted to give them their flowers. All right, Tay, let's bring you back into this one, man.
Yeah, man. I love what you have to say. Can I give you a round of applause? Let me put my pen down. Oh, my gosh, George.
My man,
that was
beautifully
said.
Holding that in for over a week.
And I'm over talking about the championship already with that. You know, they've won. I'm excited that they won. It's great. But now it's time to look forward to next year.
Yeah.
So can we please just talk about the draft, which is coming up tonight? So
you got Celtics, me moving forward in my seat now.
Right.
I'm excited for this one.
You love draft.
Oh.
Love draft. So look, the Celtics got the 30th pick and the 54th pick. Travis and I already talked about who we want to see in the 30th pick. So I really want to hear from you who you would like to see the Celtics take tonight.
So I think they got to go size. Because to me, that's what's always been their need in the front court. Mm-hmm. And you have a year left with Kristaps Porzingis. Oh, I didn't even mention that whole core's coming back. And Al Horford sounds like he'll come back.
Yep.
For his age 38 season.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the bigs that'll be around their 30, late first, beginning of the second round. You may hate this because of where he went to school.
Okay.
But Kyle Filipowski. High IQ, moves great without the ball in his hands, is a screener, is active.
Yep.
35% from three his sophomore season. 77% from the free throw line his freshman year. Fell off as a sophomore.
Yep.
He's a big that can shoot. Isn't the most elite athletically.
Yeah.
But he's versatile, good hands, can put the ball on the floor. Again, moves without it. Knows how to play the game, find space, find his shot, and keep the ball moving. I think Filipowski at 30, if I'm going big, to me makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree. Travis said Edey, of course, because you know too well how much he wants Zach Edey in that Celtics green. But
Edey at 54, I feel.
Yeah,
but let me hear.
He's not going to be there. He's not going to be there at 54. But I did say the same, actually. I went with you. I said Kyle Filipowski, and I know you were like, Duke, blah, blah, blah. And I feel the same way. But a lot of the same things that you said about him as a player is how I feel. He's hard-nosed. And I think down the road, he could be the KP replacement.
Yeah.
Because KP's probably going to be the guy of this main core that doesn't stick around the longest. You know what I mean? We probably got him for another year, 2 max. And then once they got to start paying people, Tatum's coming up. Obviously, D. White's going to get paid this summer. So he's probably the last guy and probably the most replaceable looking guy if you're looking at the front office like, hey, we already won one basically without this guy for the majority of the playoffs. Obviously, we know what he did in the regular season was a huge contribution to the 64-win team. But, yeah, I think Flip is a guy that can bang on the inside, which is important, pass out of the post, but he can also shoot the ball and eventually, hopefully he can shoot it out to 30 like Porzingis does now in his career. But I also want to hear who you think they should take at 54 because Travis and I didn't talk about this yet.
So also 30, I'll walk back 1 second. If it's not a Filipowski, a Terrence Shannon Jr. out of Illinois.
Yep.
Skilled scorer, creates his own shot, good at attacking the rim, 37% from deep, explosive athletically. Undersized, you could say at 6'6".
Yeah.
But can he be a 3-and-D guy? And if you slot him in to this lineup where he's playing alongside, there's going to be 2 of these 4 on the floor. Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum.
Yep.
His undersized, but how athletic he is, I think he could be fine. But to me, the need for the Celtics is front court. You have to go there, especially if you can get a guy that can play significant minutes like a Filipowski. But if not, Terrence Shannon Jr. can serve that role too. At 54, I like Tristan Newton out of UConn.
Okay.
You get a guy, again, you want to talk about buying in, that's coming from Danny Hurley, bigger guard, stout defender.
Yep.
Awesome. You walk into the league and you're learning from Drew Holiday and Derek White. Match made in heaven for the type of player Tristan Newton is and what those guys are.
Yeah.
Strong physical guard, not as fluid on offense and as athletic as you would like, but good from the free throw line, is a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. Joe Mazzulla loves those. So at 54, I look at him, and to run it back with the UConn too, if not, Cam Spencer, high IQ, knock down 3-point shooter, is a 5-year guy out of college, but can play in the pick and roll, super heady, super smart. And if he was coming out of Duke, would probably be looked at more in favor. He's that type of guy. He looks like that. But we talk about if a Porzingis is out, how Filipowski can replace him.
Yep.
If a Hauser is out, Cam Spencer could slot in. If a Pritchard, and he was extended earlier this year, if a Pritchard doesn't work out or you move on from him in some fashion, Cam Spencer steps in. So at 54, you have to play the options game there. That's why I look at a Cam Spencer or Tristan Newton. And again, I want to go front court first, and then I look at a guard. What about you at 54?
Are you just trying to replace white guys with white guys?
I said Tristan Newton, didn't I?
And then you throw Cam Spencer in there saying,
I'm going skill set. Yes, Sam Hauser, Cam Spencer, and Peyton Pritchard will have similar skill sets. Yes.
I'll accept that. For me, I got to go A.J. Mitchell out of UC Santa Barbara. I think he's going to be a really great player in this league. First of all, I need to say this. As a basketball player, I know this too well. Especially these dudes who are going to get picked late in the second round. It's all about fit, right?
Yeah.
None of these dudes are bad basketball players. Like, they wouldn't be in this position if they were a terrible basketball player. But they have to end up into the right situation.
Yes.
I think A.J. Mitchell could use a couple of years in the main Celtics G League facilities, working on his game, really ironing out some of the issues that he has. Off the bounce, he's not a great shooter, but overall, he's been a great shooter, at least in his junior year of college. He shot 39% from three. The first 2 years of his college career scare you. So in order to get some feeling about that and be more juiced up about him as a prospect, stick him in Maine for a year, see what he does. Hopefully he starts to develop his off-the-dribble shot, his more ability to create for himself with that. And then he has incredible float game, incredible finishing with both hands at the rim. I think once he develops the ability to really score from the perimeter off the dribble, he'll be a great prospect. So I think I would like to see them take him at 54.
I like that a lot, especially think of put him on the same floor of these elite playmakers and scorers you have in Boston.
Yeah.
It could bring this game out. Now, I agree. It's going to take a few years of him developing. But like they did, if you noticed, a lot of the bench shots throughout the finals, you'd see Jordan Walsh sitting there.
Yep.
Suited up, not playing.
Yep.
But when you draft these guys and you have them for the ride along to see what it takes in the playoffs, what it takes in the finals, learning from these vets, everything's situational. You could say the same thing about the number 1 overall pick to the 60th overall pick in the NBA.
Yeah.
Everything is situational for how it works out with these guys. The one player I put with a question mark after his name,
yep,
I put it at 30 and I put it at 54. Bronny. This is a weak draft. You have a championship roster,
this, bro.
No,
Come
listen.
Come on.
At worst, you waste a draft pick on Bronny Jr. in a weak draft.
Yes.
At best, you get LeBron James to Boston, which is very unlikely. Or at best, you draft Bronny and you go, hey, LeBron, you want to play with your son? Let's get some assets. Let's trade some pieces.
All right,
Let's
Bill
get
Simmons.
some players. I know I heard him say that, but I've said it on Boston Has Entered the Chat a few weeks ago. But I agree. And I said in that case, I mentioned the Utah Jazz or the Orlando Magic, not even the Celtics.
Yeah.
But it was the same thing. This is a weak draft for a kid that shouldn't be coming out of college, right?
Yep.
Now I got to go fish through, find out what episode I said that in. I'm going to timestamp it with a date, say when I said it, and go, yeah, I know Bill Simmons said it.
Yep.
And about the Celtics, but I said this about the Utah effing Jazz. The same thing applies for every team in this league. I don't care. At best, you get LeBron. At worst, you waste a draft pick in a weak draft, and who cares?
Yeah.
But if it's not LeBron that you get Bronny Jr., you trade him to the Lakers, and you get some players in return, and you get NBA-ready players. Instead of that second-round pick that needs to develop a few years, Austin Reeves in Boston? Yeah, I'm replacing white guys with more white guys. Get Peyton Pritchard out of here. Here's Bronny. Here's Peyton. Give us Austin Reeves and give us a damn draft pick. And then you take those to get more second-round picks. It's all about team building, man.
Oh, man.
You don't like that Bronny Jr. talk, huh?
I don't. But look, we'll come back to tonight's NBA draft in a second here. But I want to talk about a draft that's near and dear to me.
I wonder why.
This was the year that I was born, the 1996 NBA draft. And we're going to redraft. And because it's the year that I'm born,
yeah, this is BS.
Sorry, George. I'm going to take the first pick.
I'm the G-damn host of this one. I'm a guest.
Oh,
right?
Man. Yep.
You're welcoming me into your home.
Yep.
And you're not offering me some water or a drink when I walk in?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I was ready.
Yeah, we go through this draft to go, I know who you're taking number 1. I'm not going to give it away. I go, cool, I know I'm taking 1. You go, I got 1.
I'm usually a good host, but
go
you
ahead,
know
bro.
who I'm going with
90s.
that 1.
Let's go.
All right? So look,
undisputed.
The kid from Philadelphia.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He
Lower
wore
Merion.
the maroon. 33 out of high school. Number 24 and 8 retired by the Los Angeles Lakers.
This is a Celtics podcast. Don't forget.
I need Kobe Bean Bryant.
Hugs.
Yep.
Comes on stage. You hold the jersey with him.
Yep.
We got you, kid. No doubt about it. This is the number 1 overall pick in this draft.
Yeah.
What was he originally, 14th?
14th or 13th, excuse me.
13th.
13th,
yeah.
Yes.
You're going through, like, I just pull up the draft. I'm going through it in order.
Yep.
Obviously, I knew Kobe was picked late in his standard. You
Yeah.
see, they go, yeah, it's number 1 overall. So I'm following this up. Great pick. Great pick. No brainer.
Yep.
No doubt about it. Congrats. You're going to win 5 rings.
Yep.
Maybe more, depending on how the situation is for your team.
Right.
Great job.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
and you'll know how to bring him along as a rookie so his legs hold up throughout the playoffs. Number 2 for me, I'm going north.
How
to
north?
Canada.
Oh, my gosh. No, you're not.
2-time MVP, 7-time All-NBA, one of the most efficient players of all time. Never a primary scorer, but always drove the offense. A guy that literally makes everyone around him better. A walking, talking, 17 points, 10 assists a game. Steve Nash, number 2.
I can't believe you, George. I can't believe
Steve Nash, yes. Over who I know you're talking about, Steve Nash, number 2.
All right, man. So, look, I'm not taking that guard. There's another guard who is much more better, more dynamic, crossed up. Michael Jordan, stepped over. Tyronn Lue. I need Allen Iverson, man. I'm just showing love to Philly right now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm supposed to live there. I don't know. But
hey,
Philly
pound
love.
for pound, best player in NBA history, right?
Yep. For sure. No question about it. And definitely a better player than Steve Nash.
But I'm building a team here if I'm drafting. Now, keep in mind, guys, we're not drafting our teams. We're redrafting.
Yes.
Because that's how I started doing this. I'm like, all right, I took Nash at 2. I got to go with a guard of – no. But I take Nash over Allen on this one.
Okay.
Again, everyone around him better, but I'm talking about an Allen Iverson who is his best number 2. Back end Dikembe Mutombo and Eric Snow carry that Sixers team to the finals. Yeah, right. I know. Right. But I think Steve Nash, the efficient player he was, I'm going with him. I'm building a team. I need him to get better. Give me Steve Nash. At 4, this is when it gets tough.
Yeah.
Because I'm staring at defense, and defense wins championships.
Don't do it. Come on,
But
George.
I'm staring at a guy that many people know him as a lethal shooter.
Yep.
Right? And a guy that bought into his role in Miami and Boston.
Yep.
But I'm drafting the guy that was posterizing when he was in UConn.
Yeah.
Posterizing, folks.
Yeah.
Give me Ray Allen, bro.
Yeah, Jesus Shuttlesworth, man. He's
height of his powers. Whew. A backcourt of Steve Nash. Well, see, now I'm drafting my team. I got to cut myself off. But I'm going Ray Allen 4th. Because of who he is, the dynamic scorer he is, give me Ray Allen number 4.
Yeah, and not only did you get a great basketball player, but you got a great actor. I would love to be Jesus Shuttlesworth.
One of my favorite movies.
Put that on the record.
He got game.
And I'm going to go 5. It's obvious. I think the guy who's risen the most in this redraft, obviously undrafted, now to being a all defensive player in the NBA.
Ripping my heart
out. Detroit basketball.
Yep.
Give me Ben Wallace.
That's exactly my number 5.
Yep.
All defense with this pick. You want to win a championship. A guy that never averaged more than, 10 points per game in a season? Doesn't matter.
No.
Does not matter.
Nope.
On the boards, defensively, what he does brings a toughness to the team. I like that.
Yep.
So we went guard heavy to begin, right? Kobe, Nash, AI, Allen.
Yep.
Now the front court comes into play. Number 6, I'm going Jermaine O'Neal.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that came out young, rode the bench when he first came into the league because of the Sabonis that was in front of him.
Yeah.
Remember, if there wasn't the whole mess with the USSR, that guy, Domantas Sabonis' dad, would have been one of the best, if not the best, European player in NBA history.
Facts.
But he couldn't play for such a long time.
Yeah.
And this, at the number 6 pick, would be the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be a defensive rebounder. Good face-up shooter. Was in the MVP convo. 3-time All-NBA. Give me Jermaine O'Neal, number 6.
Yeah, I like that take. And as Travis likes to say, he has a mean right hook.
He does.
But another guy that I've the fashion is huge for me. Of this on this show because of Wicked or Kick It, which we usually do. I love fashion, man. So I gotta go with another fashion icon with Stephon Marbury.
Damn it,
those Starburys, man. I kid you not. I thought those were the coolest shoes growing up as a kid, man.
$15 too.
Man, shout out to Starbury for looking out for all the kids growing up in the hood, man, taking care of us. So I appreciate him for all the contributions he's gave to us on the court and off the court. He was no slouch, that's for sure, as a basketball player. His time in New York was special.
Yep.
Special. So I got to take him here at 7.
I hate you. How my board falls, I was getting Steph at 8. And this is a guy, his time in New York was special,
Yep.
but bowed out of the league early because of battles with depression, with mental health.
Yep.
maybe the worst thing for him was actually playing in New York because being from Coney Island, I remember Cameron said this about Stephon Marbury. Yep. When he came home and he'd have a show in the Garden, the amount of tickets, everything, getting everyone involved.
Yeah.
Now imagine doing that 41 times a year and then in the playoffs. The pressure, the stress. Man. Of course, in New York media, when you are a kid from the city, from that city, they're not going to take a light on you.
Yeah.
So I love that Stephon Marbury pick.
Yep.
I had him at 8, and that was me projecting, hoping I'd get him.
Yep.
You took Marbury, Peja Stojakovic. And I am praying his back, his neck, his knees, all those injuries are away when I'm drafting him.
Yeah.
At number 8 overall.
Yeah.
Deadly from 3, always draws 2 defenders. Had that run where he was averaging 21 points per game, 40% from 3. And like, I'm drafting this 96 team, Tay, and I'm picturing them in today's NBA.
Yeah.
Peja Stojakovic today, woo! Again, with modern medicine and recovery and science, too.
Yeah.
Long career. I'm taking Stojakovic at 8.
I like that pick. Peja was I hated him growing up. You know what I mean? As a reformed Lakers fan, watching those Kings teams, I hated Peja growing up, but he was a real player. That was me having admiration and respect for him, is knowing that he was great, and I didn't like that he was great against my team back in the day. So I'm going to go with another forward here, forward/big like you. I got to go with a guy who was here for the debut episode.
Nice.
Hold my banner. You know where I'm going.
Yes, sir.
Antoine Walker. Bro, honestly, it hurts me to put him this far down in the draft, and it's not that I don't think he's a good basketball player. There's a lot of great talent that we've put before him on this list. He was amazing here in Boston, a real shooter. I think he would be even better in today's game than he was back in the early 2000s. So I got to take him here at 9. There was no doubt about that.
This is a guy that never saw a shot he didn't like.
Yeah,
it wasn't efficient, but he put it up a ton. But he's a power forward that was, like you said, before his time.
Yep.
Score off the dribble, good in the post, face up defenders, doesn't matter.
Yep.
And would chuck you from 30 feet out and not give a damn.
Yep.
You have to have that blind, naive confidence to succeed in the NBA. Antoine Walker had it, the Walker wiggle.
Yep.
10th to close out this draft, Marcus Camby.
Yeah.
4-time All-Defense, Defensive Player of the Year, jump shooter, could put the ball on the floor. Averaged 10 and 10 in his career. Just under, but you know what I mean. That was a tough one. I'm going Camby at 10. But again, like, there's the Kerry Kittles, the Derek Fishers in this draft. 1996 was nuts.
Yeah.
When you see these names. But I like Camby to round it out at 10.
Yeah, I like that. You got to obviously mention Big Z, Abdur-Rahim as well. Those were a lot of great guys in this draft. But all right, I want to switch it over now and talk about the draft again. We know the draft is tonight. And we're human, so we have favorite players. I want to know what are some of your favorite draft prospects coming into tonight's draft.
So I want to start with Stephon Castle. He was great at UConn. Not the best shooter, but has that shot of second half of the season, 84% from the free throw line. Great body control, thrives in the pick and roll is the worst way to put it. He's excellent in the pick and roll and versatile on defense. Again, it all matters where these guys land. But Stephon Castle, what he brings defensively, and then if you get someone to work on his shot with him, that's what can make him a great player. I love Stephon Castle. How can you not be locked in on what Alex Sarr could potentially become?
Yeah.
6'11", 7'4" wingspan. He can shoot great handles. He's a guard in a center's body. Can attack downhill. Beautiful right-hand finish.
Yep.
And this is someone that's going to go 1 or 2. I don't want him to end up in D.C. I really don't.
Hey, I'm with you.
I don't. In Atlanta, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
But I love Alex Sarr.
Yep.
And then I got 2 more names. First, I'll start with Dalton Connect. And this was the guy at Tennessee probably will be exposed defensively at the NBA level.
Yeah.
But in must-score situations, Volunteers went to him, and he took them all throughout the regular season and deep into March. He's already that guy that's dependable and create a shot on his own. Big physical shooter, mature as well. That's why I like Connect. And finally, again, out of the Big East, you said it right before we started recording, Devin Carter out of Providence.
Yep.
He steps in, 3 and D guy, can be a point guard, can run an offense if you need him to.
Yeah.
Carried that Providence team once Bryce Hopkins went down middle of the year against Seton Hall.
Yep. And
took them almost into March. But they fell in the Big East tournament, and they got snubbed because the committee hated the Big East, even though UConn ran through the whole tournament no problem and ran through everyone in their path. FU committee.
Yeah.
I like Devin Carter, but those are my 4 guys I'm watching for in this draft who I like. And it's like the list is endless. There's so many names, but those are my 4 guys. What about you?
There's a ton of names left, but I got to shout out a couple of guys real quick because I like the guys that you shouted out well. And it shows there's a difference because there's some things that you liked and there's some things that I like. And my list is completely different and it's predicated on one thing. And it's the thing that I love to watch the most in basketball. Great shooting.
Yeah.
And so that starts with the guy who's probably going to get taken off the board first, Reed Sheppard.
You think first overall?
No. First out of the guys that I'm going to list. Excuse me. Excuse me. Whew. First of the guys that I'm going to list. Okay. Reed Sheppard. He's going to probably go in the top 5 range here. Yeah. He's a 52% shooter from 3. And the greatest thing about that is that's not even the most important part of his game. He's an ultimate facilitator, ultimate defender. He was top 5 or 10 or something like that in steals in the country as a freshman guard. I can't wait to watch him play basketball in the NBA because I think he's a super heady, high IQ, athletic, and well-shooting guard. He reminds me a lot of like what, as a draft prospect, like Pat Connaughton was like, but more in a guard type of form. You know what I mean?
And with that shooting, his ceiling is so high.
Exactly. So I think he's going to be better than Pat Connaughton.
Yeah, same.
But I just, it reminds me of that because Pat had like the 42-inch vertical, shot the ball super well for Notre Dame. I think he was shooting like 47 in college or something like that. So it reminds me a lot of that. Then Jared McCain out of Duke. I know I'm talking about the Blue Bloods. Get used to it. Jared McCain is a great guard out of Duke University. I honestly think him being there kind of hindered what we could have saw from him because he had a lot of older guards on his team.
Yeah.
He has a lot more to his game than the catch and shoot and defense that we saw at Duke. I think he's going to be able to show that in the NBA if he ends up on the right team. So I'm excited to see his progression. And then lastly, I got to shout out the other Kentucky guard, freshman, Rob Dillingham.
Love that.
That dude is electric. He plays like a New Yorker with the basketball. Anytime he has the basketball, it's like you're nervous that he's going to score. He has that instant pop, quick on his feet. He also plays his defense, slides his feet really well. He gets a little aggressive and gets himself out of position for his small frame, which can be a problem at the NBA level. But once he learns to play NBA defense, I think he'll be just all right.
I love Dillingham off the dribble, too.
Yeah.
Gets attacks downhill, no problem.
Yep.
That's all I was going through, too. Like all these guards, as you walk through them, of who could be. I like that Dillingham pick. Reed Sheppard's special.
Yeah.
Again, wherever he lands. And if he goes top 5, gets in the right situation, maybe a team trades back.
Yep.
Where Reed Sheppard could be with his shooting. Watch out for him in this draft. I like those names you got there.
Yeah, I do too. Now let's switch it over. So as we know, the great Boston Celtics are celebrating their championship. And as we see on the screen, they're walking in the Fenway. Jason Tatum's holding the trophy. Jaylen Brown right next to him. They all got announced. They were all there. I think Drew was the only one missing, but they got to throw out a couple first pitches. We had Derek White do an interview with us here on Nesson. It was a great time. So with that, I want to draft an MLB team with 9 players.
I got my awful diamond here, but we're going through. Let's do it.
9 players and 1 designated hitter. So I will allow you to take the first pick on this one since I took it with the draft.
Now you give me the first pick. I love it. Okay. So I'm going to go with what's most important here. You got to have an elite pitcher. You have to have that ace on staff.
Yep.
You got to have that guy. You're going to give the ball to him once every 5 days, 4 days in the postseason.
Yep.
We'll step up. Mentally, they have to be a mother effing dog.
Yep.
To be on that mound, it's all on them. End of the day, no one's going to save them. But also, I'm going with the physical tools here, the intangibles. Well, it's, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The stuff that you're born with, you can't earn it.
Yep.
Give me Giannis Antetokounmpo, number 1 overall pick as our pitcher.
Giannis as pitcher. I like that pick. All right.
6'11", 7'3" wingspan. By the time that ball's leaving his hands, it's in the catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
I think all of that, the intimidation factor of a batter staring him down, give me Giannis on the mound, baby.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to cheat. And I'm going to take a guy who was drafted to the NBA and drafted to the ABA in 1973. He's a Hall of Fame right fielder, which is why I'm cheating. I'm going to go for a guy, Dave Winfield. He's going to play right field for us because why not? You know what I mean? He's never played an NBA game, but he was a great player. And he was drafted to the NFL as well. So I got to have the ultimate athlete on our team, of course.
Just so people know, when you gave me this, you said, let's create a baseball team together with all-time NBA players. How many games did Dave Winfield play in the NBA?
0!
Cheater. I love it. All right, now we got our pitcher. We got our right fielder, who's an all-time guy.
Yep.
I'm going to go shortstop with this pick.
Okay.
And this is someone, the athleticism you need to play there. The soft hands, the fluidity, right? Also the headiness. Give me Kyrie Irving as shortstop.
Okay.
That's where I'm putting him. Imagine Irving, whatever your opinion is of him. We're keeping this to what he does on the court and what he would look like at the shortstop position.
Yeah.
I'm putting Kyrie at short, man. He just seems like the perfect fit. Because I'm going through it and like, what do I imagine as a shortstop could be? Someone as athletic, can make all the type of plays. Essentially a passer, can make every throw on the diamond. That's Kyrie Irving. A great finisher. That's Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, okay. I like that pick. I'm going to go with another great NBA player since last time you told me I didn't do an all-time NBA player. And I'm going to stick with Danny Ainge, who actually played games in both leagues, so you could get off of my back. He played third, so I'm going to take him at our third base, playing the hot corner.
I had someone at third. I don't want to give it away yet. Danny Ainge, 211 games, 220 hitter, 37 RBI, drafted by the Celtics. He's like, I'm going to give this basketball thing a try.
Yeah.
And look what he did for the city of Boston, and we'll see what he could do out in Utah.
Yep.
All right, let me go through. I have my roster. I have my board.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go first base here.
Okay.
And when I picture a first baseman, I picture size, toughness. They are the guy that is the authority on the field, and if you need them to get in someone's face, they'll do that. Bill Laimbeer.
Oh, okay.
6'11".
Yeah.
2.
That stretch is going to be crazy.
Woo! He rolls out of bed and he's catching a double play.
Yeah, I was gonna go Manu Bol there for
we're on the same wavelength
for the same reason.
I like that.
And then since we're pretty much wrapping up the infield, obviously, besides our catcher, I gotta take a second baseman here, and I'm gonna take a guy who's super athletic, able to slide his feet, and really good defender on the NBA court. So I gotta take one of the best guard defenders, and Gary Payton. I think he would be great as a second baseman.
I love that.
Yeah.
Gary Payton is a psycho too, so he's perfect for baseball.
Yep.
All right, I'll close out the infield then with my catcher.
Yep.
Whenever I picture who's your catcher, they have to be smart, obviously. Yep. They have to know everything going on. Basically a coach on the field, but they need to be strong and stout and built like a brick house.
Yep.
Give me, I wanted to go one way, but I took it a little too serious, and I'm going this way.
Okay.
Give me Drew Holiday at catcher.
Drew, okay.
Yeah.
Why is that one? Why are you picking him?
Strong. And I'm picturing collisions at the plate. It doesn't happen anymore in MLB. But it's more of the IQ. I mean, the defender that he is. And when you watch Drew in person, knowing everything that goes on both ends of the floor, that's why I'm going Drew Holiday at catcher. And again, this is a guy I'm confident you can move him anywhere. You need him to play first, he can play first. You want to give him a day off, put him out in the outfield, he'll find his way out there. But because of the strength and the IQ of Drew Holiday, he's playing catcher for me.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to go with left field because I'm really interested to see who you have at center. But in left, I'm assuming that we're playing at Fenway, right? And that monster has a lot of rebounds. So I got to go with the best rebounder in NBA history. Give me Dennis Rodman, bro. Detroit basketball getting a lot of love on this episode.
Detroit!
All right?
Basketball.
Yep.
I love that. Rodman did not even cross my mind when I'm putting all these teams together.
Yep.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
And he's the type of psycho. You know that in The Last Dance where he's explaining rebounds?
Yeah.
That's balls coming off of Green Monster.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's going to go. You don't know how to play it, but you have to be an expert.
Yep.
And as the great Jim Rice once told me, if you can't play left field, you can't play in Fenway, get out of the Red Sox. Dennis Rodman would be fantastic in that spot.
Yep.
And a good city like Boston with a bad nightlife, so it'd actually keep him reeled in a little more. All right. Let me look who I got. Cool. All right. Center field. I'm going off sheer speed here and explosiveness. Yep. Tyrese Maxey. Give me an electric center fielder, cover a ton of ground. I'm going Tyrese Maxey. Who'd have you gone in center? If you're
I would have gone Wilt Chamberlain. I wanted an athletic stretch, cover a lot of ground. But I like the Tyrese Maxey pick. But let me give you my DH real quick because I know we need to move on from this. Dwight Howard.
Oh.
If he gets a hold of that baseball, it is taking over the Red Sea. Sorry, Ted Williams. That Red Sea is getting moved.
Non-existent.
Dwight Howard, because he's just swole. I need him hitting in the DH spot. But
if it wasn't Dwight, I would have went Zion Williamson because your DH is normally fat, and he's perfect for that.
Zion, I like that. All right, so look, there's a lot of news with the trades, maybe some free agents, players on the move, all right? So I want to quickly run through because we don't have that much time.
Rapid fire, let's do it.
Players and where you think they're going to go, all right? Cool. So I'm going to ask you this. LeBron James, where do you think he should go, I should say?
Should go to the Knicks, going to stay in L.A. for a 3-year, $55 million a year AAV. It's going to be terrible. But if he goes to New York and wins a ring with that roster, and Julius Randle ain't there if he's ending up in New York, you win there. 4 rings, 4 different teams. Bringing a ring to New York City, you are a legend, LeBron, but he's going to stay in L.A.
Mine is Philly. I think he should go there because it's a perfect like Miami type situation, right? The roster is pretty much gutted. They have draft picks. They have the opportunity to bring in whoever he wants. That's what LeBron James loves, so he should go to Philly. But all right, let's switch it over. Paul George, what do you think about him? Where should he go?
Again, because I think LeBron ends up in the Lakers, I think Paul George should go to the Knicks. Full seriousness here. I think he'd be a great number 2, number 1 scorer next to Jalen Brunson, another guy you could depend on.
Yep.
I picture this roster getting these guys, no Julius Randle. You have the defense there. They need the consistent scoring when they go on a drought. Give me PG in New York City.
I would love to see him in the Warriors jersey. I hate to say it, with Clay probably seeing his last days there, I would love to see him with Steph. I think it would be a great marriage. But all right, let's talk about another guy that I just alluded to, Klay Thompson. Where do you think he should go?
Philadelphia Sixers. Maxey's there, Embiid's there. You have those 2 guys that are going to run the offense. You give them the spacing from the perimeter. Tobias Harris is there, man, still with that contract. Give me Klay Thompson in Philly.
I want to see him in OKC. I think he needs to be around a young group that he can really mentor, a group that hasn't really won anything yet. I think it would be huge. But I also want to point to this really quickly. What about this guy? OG Anunoby.
I know.
Declined his player option, man. So now he's a free agent. So what do you think he should go, George? New York basketball, man.
I think he should stay with the Knicks. You're the 3-and-D guy. You were pivotal for them when they traded for you at the deadline. Getting RJ Barrett out of there, who the fans loved.
Yep.
But when healthy, OG Anunoby was so important for that team. So if he declines his player option to get a bigger payday as a free agent, a long-term deal done, fine. Because he wasn't healthy. He knows the value there. I think OG should stay in New York City.
All right. And then the last one, I think OG staying in New York. No, I'll say Timberwolves. I think him for Monte Morris and Kyle Anderson, get those contracts out of there. Hopefully he doesn't want $40 million. We can make about 25 in Timberwolves land, so I'm going to rock with that. But the last guy, Brandon Ingram, where do you think he should go? There's rumors that he's going to be traded.
I think he goes, and especially, you said it right there, because of a trade, Atlanta. Split up that backcourt, put in B.I., an elite scorer like him. I like him going to the Hawks. What about you?
Pacers, man. They need a guy who can score the ball and score it quickly without somebody setting them up. I think he could be the guy.
I just feel bad. He was drafted by L.A., and he's going to end up in Indiana now. That's scary.
Yeah.
Talk about places to live. Tay, I love your picks. Love being on this show, man. Thanks as always for having me. Do I get number 1 overall pick next time, though?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
We'll find the draft here. You let me know. For George Bilecki, he's Ante Campbell. This was Hold My Banner. Make sure to like, subscribe, review as well, wherever you get the podcast. Quick closing thought I wanted to give, and I bring it back to the Celtics. Congrats to the city of Boston. What I want to point out is Jason Tatum and what it does for him. of all-time great Celtics. And for him, you see the relief on his face, what it meant. The pressure he played with, I'm excited what him and Jaylen Brown now accomplished with getting this off of their back and looking forward to how many rings they can win together, especially with this core running it back. If the Celtics repeat, I wouldn't be shocked. They just got to stay healthy. That's it for Hold My Banner. Make sure to catch this podcast dropping every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, wherever you get your podcasts. For George Black, Shante Campbell, see you guys next time. Later.